Hey, what's up, everyone? Been a little while since I've done a video, but thought I'd do one real quick just to kind of explain some things. Um, I obviously am in the life insurance business as well as being a financial professional. The thing I want to just talk about is when people say, they're all set and they have enough for work. So this is kind of how I go about it with my clients, and I just want to kind of let you guys see the process and where the thought comes from. So essentially, I got my handy dandy notebook. I take notes. So I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're telling me that you have some life insurance through work. Yep. Husband, I have twice my salary. It's really cheap. I think we're all set. We don't really need any more. I'm usually like, okay, that's understandable. I see where you're coming from. You get it through work. It's super cheap. But, I'd really like to take you through something and kind of talk about a few things. Would you be open to that? And they always say yes, because everybody wants a little bit more information. So say, okay, 200K. So you make $100,000 a year. So 200,000, that makes sense. Mr. Client, would you agree? Yep. All right. So then let's talk about the next thing. Two kids, right? Oh yeah, yeah. We have two kids. Okay. So 2 and 5, right? Girl, boy. Oh yeah, yep. 2 and 5. Okay. And you guys don't, you own this house, right? Oh yeah, we own it. Okay. How much is left on the mortgage? Oh, we got about 350K left on our mortgage. Okay. 350,000. Okay. 2 and 5-year-old, right? We're tracking. We're all on the same page. Oh yeah. Yep. 100%. You plan on helping your kids with college? Oh yeah, we definitely want to help the kids with college. Okay. So I guess like a fair amount, like would definitely be like you guys are trying to do at least 50,000 towards each kid, right? Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Definitely want to give them some money, get them through college. Like that's 100% on our plan. And I say, okay, so let me see. So if something happened tomorrow, right? You tell me you have $200,000 through work, but you were telling me you owe $350,000 on the mortgage. So that 200,000 doesn't even cover what's left on the mortgage. Yeah, yeah. Well, but I mean, she'll figure it out, which is by far the worst answer ever. If I hear she'll figure it out one more time, that's insane to tell someone who has just lost their husband that they'll figure it out. That's pretty crazy. And usually what I say is, oh, okay, she'll figure it out. So you have a 2 and a 5-year-old. You're no longer in the picture. You're the breadwinner. So you're where the income's coming from. You left $200,000, which doesn't even cover what's left on a mortgage, right? Well, yeah. Okay. So how long do you think 200,000 is going to last when your wife can't work because you have a 2 and a 5-year-old that now need more care? They're obviously all devastated, so they need time off. I think what we say we have 60 grand in our bank account, so $60,000 in emergency savings. I think we're going to go through that pretty quick. And that 200,000 through work, I mean, it's going to take a little time to get that money. Because it's a plan through work. I don't know who it's with, but sometimes different insurance companies can take some time. So we got to get that 200 grand. We got 60 grand. Your wife can't go back to work right away because she's devastated. She lost her husband. Your kids obviously are out of school for a little while. She's still having to pay that mortgage because you got $350,000 left on it, and you say you're paying about $2,500 a month. So, I mean, how long is that money going to last? I mean, for your wife to work now, she's going to have to put the kids in childcare. That's not cheap. It's Massachusetts. It costs a lot of money, So we could say, I mean, I would say from my own experience, that's 24 to 25 grand right there out of that 60K. So now we're already down to 35, right? $35,000. She's trying to pay the mortgage. She's got to pay all the other bills, right? You know, so she does get that 200K. Again, how long does that $200,000 last? It's really not a lot of money. And you said you wanted $50,000 for each kid to go to college. Well, now you're not in the picture. You're not earning. Where are we getting that money from? Do you think it would make sense that for pennies on the dollar, literally nothing, coffee money, we can get you more life insurance to make sure that if something happens to you tomorrow, your family's all set? That they can pay off the mortgage, that they don't have to move, that your kids are taken care of, that your wife can take the time off of work she needs, that your kids can stay in the same school district with their friends, that you can leave some money for college, that we can replace your income for the next, 10 to 15 years till your kids are old enough and on their feet and your wife's back on her feet so that they're taken care of. Because I'm sure 100% that you would want, as the breadwinner, to make sure that that money continued to flow even if you weren't here. You want your family taken care of. You don't want them to have to run around and try to figure it out and not have the same standard of living that they have right now. Is that right, Mr. Client? And there's usually a long brief, and I pause and I just stare at them for a little while. And eventually I get God, I really didn't think about it. I thought, $200,000 is a lot of money. And that makes sense, because for a lot of people, $200,000 is a lot of money. But when we're talking about our family and making it last when we have young kids all the way to, 18 when they're out of the house, putting money aside for college, taking care of our mortgage. We're in Massachusetts. Mortgage here ain't cheap. We want to pay those things off. We want to make sure that our family has the same exact standard of living that they would have if we were still in the picture. So that's why it's so important. I tell people all the time, having life insurance through work is fine, but don't let that be the only thing that you have. One of the other things with life insurance through work, it's not portable. And what that means is if you leave that job and go to a new job, that life insurance typically doesn't go with you. And if it does, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. It's going to be super expensive. And then there's another thing. If you get disabled at work and you go from short-term to long-term disability, typically the life insurance stops. So if you go to long-term disability and you end up passing away, that insurance isn't going to pay out. So these are things that you need to think about when you just think, oh, I have enough through work, right? It's enough. It's enough. But what is that enough? Where'd you get that number? Because if it's just arbitrary, then we really need to sit down, crunch the numbers, and look at it. Again, a lot of the time, we're doing this for pennies on the dollar. And what I mean by that is 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 bucks a month. If you're healthy and young, to make sure that if something happens tomorrow, your family's taken care of, to me, that's pennies, right? That's chump change. We're spending more on that on Dunkin' Donuts coffee in a month. And don't kid yourself if you think you aren't. You are. So just think about it.